That's kind of funny how we fall into things that we didn't really necessarily intend to. But there's a noble side behind it, right? It's like, yeah, you're selling insurance, but it's a way to help people before and after a disaster.
It's good to have the right insurance, but you never want to have to use it. It's there if you have to, but it sucks. I mean, getting in a car crash sucks. Getting your car stolen sucks. Your house burning down sucks. You don't want to do it. I mean, we can replace belongings, injuries, and pain and suffering, those kind of things. You don't want to go through that.
Tell me a little bit about why your faith's important to you, and does that relate to your business?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on that before. I always want to do the right thing for the client. And so the way we treat our clients is kind of like a friend or a family member. We don't want to take advantage of them. We want to be able to sit next to them for a holiday meal. We do absolutely zero marketing. Everything is 100% referral based. And so that's a lot easier to work with someone when they have that warm interaction. That trust is already there.
Hey guys, welcome to More Than a Mortgage. The entire reason for this podcast is to provide you value before, during, and long after a transaction closes. We've said all along that if this podcast ever grows an audience and people are tuning in because of the value, like that'd be super cool. But the whole reason that we exist is really we want to highlight the stories of some awesome people in this industry. My name's Gavin Sessions, and today I've got the privilege of hosting Nick Christensen here with Goosehead Insurance. Nick is an awesome guy with a fantastic story. And you're going to learn a lot, I promise, as you listen to this. There's going to be some inspiration there, and you're going to probably leave with a few more questions as well. So the goal is we get Nick's story out there, and we can't wait to hear from Nick. Man, I'm so glad you're here. This is fun. I say this to people, I think most of the people that have sat in this chair, this is like the funnest thing I get to do in my job. I often question, did I pick the right industry? But this has been just a complete hoot. I had a coach at one point say, you should do things, well, let me back up. She basically said, only do things from a marketing perspective that are a hell yes. In other words, if you're like, I don't know, like somebody suggests something to do to go, try to promote your business, drive your business. But if it's a hell yes, then you should go do it. Or if it's not, then you shouldn't go do it. But this has been one of those things for me that's been a ton of fun. So I appreciate you being willing to sit here and hang out with me and have a conversation. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet, man. We could go take this a number of different ways, but what's cool is I know you a little bit, but I don't necessarily know your story all that well. So I get the benefit of hearing some of this a little bit for the first time. But let's first start with that reel I sent you yesterday afternoon. Have you ever seen a black bear swimming across Lucky Peak before?
I have not. That was pretty cool. I saw the black bear in Middleton this year. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, there's one running around the streets of Middleton.
Really?
Yeah.
How big was it?
I don't know the size, but I'm guessing pretty small, but they think maybe it came through on a canal or something.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was just in the streets, terrorizing backyards and cats and that kind of thing.
So you're a hunter, right? And you educated me recently actually on how close we live to black bear country. So it probably doesn't surprise you at all that there was a black bear by Lucky Peak.
Yeah, you've probably skied and snowboarded near a black bear den, I would assume.
Without even knowing, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. All right, so here we are recording this episode today in Boise, Idaho, and you're not from Boise, Idaho, right?
Nope.
Tell us a little bit about your story. I'd love to kind of learn just how'd you get here? Let's go there.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've probably never heard this before, but I'm a California transplant. This is maybe super rare,
Yeah, I never heard it before.
Yeah, so we moved in 2020. We were COVID transplants, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
My wife, she got furloughed from her job. So she was the women's administrator at our old church.
Okay.
And I think ever since we got pregnant with our son, we had thought about trying to move somewhere different, trying to find a better place to raise our kids. And COVID was kind of just that catalyst. I mean, it was a horrible thing, but a lot of good things did come from it. We actually had an event scheduled. We were volunteering at an evangelical event here in Boise, spring of 2020 that got canceled, and we came out here anyways. And
so you guys had signed up to participate in some sort of event, conference, or what was it?
Yeah, so our old church does crusades around the country, and we were going to volunteer there, and Boise was the stop for 2020, and the event got canceled, and we came anyways. And like a lot of people, it's an easy place to fall in love with. We had never been here before, had no friends here, no family, and we bought a property and started building a house. So it's pretty quick. I mean, the Lord, like every door that we went through, the Lord just opened up avenues for us, met people quick, found a good church quick, built community. And my work at the time was letting us be remote. We could work from anywhere. So I just started working from here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was Idaho at all on your radar before that you guys volunteered to be part of that crusade up here?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, we had looked at, maybe moving to Arizona a long time ago, Oregon, things like that. But the Lord never opened up any doors for us. And I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I mean, things went so smoothly with this move that we almost felt like if we didn't keep moving forward, we were being disobedient.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a lot of people's stories too, but it was pretty amazing. And I mean, the kids are loving it here. They're thriving. It's been awesome.
That's awesome. So April of 2020, you guys came.
May.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how quickly did you buy a piece of property?
I think within the second day of setting foot in this state, we put an offer in on a house. I mean,
that's really fast.
Yeah, we got our offer accepted. We went back home and threw all our stuff in boxes, and our house sold quickly. I mean, that's really fast. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought our story was fast, and this isn't about me, but we visited in the summer of 16.
Okay.
And within 24 hours, my wife and I were secretly looking at Zillow, individually. And then we finally were like, are you doing what I'm doing? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Of course. And so we made the call on that trip, that week, that we wanted to move here, but we certainly did not buy property that week. So that was July of 16. We were here by January of 17.
Okay.
You guys bought property within 24 or 48 hours.
Essentially, yeah.
That's crazy. And you weren't even here for that reason.
No, we just made it a mini vacation, and we did meet with the realtor and just say, hey, like, show us around. We want to see the city. We want to see different towns, that kind of a thing. And just fell in love with it out here. I mean, it was pretty amazing.
That's cool. That's very, very fast. Okay. So, and if I remember your story correctly, you guys bought a piece of property and then you had to build a house.
Yeah.
So we don't have to necessarily camp on that, although building a house is not for the faint of heart. I've said that to people, for years and years and years, and it's the industry I'm in somewhat. But so it took a while, of course, for your house to be built. When did you guys actually move here?
So kind of an interesting story is that when we were looking at places, I told the realtor that I only wanted to look at resale homes. I didn't want new construction. I didn't want to build a house because we were kind of tired of California. It was just draining on us. So we were in between appointments because it was COVID. So you had to have, an appointment, one person at a time at houses. And we're just in between appointments. And my wife found what she thought was a nice looking house. And so we just drove over to the property to drive by and couldn't find the house. Well, it turns out it was a lot that was for sale, and they just had made it look online like there was a house available.
Like a to be built.
Yeah. And it could have been any house. We literally bought the house and said, we want the house in the pictures.
Yeah.
We don't want, very many changes. And so we started coming to Idaho for about a week at a time for a few months. So we, brought our kids back, then we brought our in-laws back, and we would just kind of go 3 weeks in California, 1 week here, get an Airbnb. But then we realized really quick that we wanted to get the kids in school. So we didn't know anyone here. We thought best way to do that, put the kids in school. We picked a local Christian private school to put them in. Maybe we can meet some other families. And so we moved full-time in August of 2020 so the kids could start school.
Yeah. Where'd you guys move to?
Star.
Okay.
Yeah.
Airbnb or a short-term rental or long-term rental?
It was kind of a hybrid. So we did, I think, a 9-month lease on it. We talked to the person about what was going on, and they were pretty cool about it. I think they'd had some issues with their prior tenant, so they were just looking for a stable tenant to not destroy their house and to pay their rent. They told me later that the real reason why they picked us was because they knew we would continue to pay the rent since we needed to keep our credit stable.
Oh, that's a good point.
It worked out well. I mean, we didn't even unpack really. I mean, our rental had a couch, a TV, a dresser in each room, and a bed. Like
somewhat furnished.
Yeah, we left everything in storage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Didn't have to really make roots then in that place.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. You've mentioned your wife and kids several times. Let's learn about them a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your wife. How long have you guys been married?
Oh, we got married on 9/8/7, so I wouldn't forget our anniversary.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, we're coming up on an anniversary. We're going to be in Kauai for the first time, but we're going with her family actually. So all the kids, in-laws.
So 18 years?
Yeah.
Okay. 18 years coming up and you're going to Hawaii.
Yep.
Rad. What island?
Kauai.
Did you already say that? And I just didn't listen.
Well, it kind of sounds like Hawaii and Kauai. So
you're going to Kauai. Nice.
Yeah. It's our first time.
Oh, cool. I've not been to that island.
Yeah.
Have you been to Hawaii before, I assume?
Yeah. We try to go every year.
Okay.
When we were younger, we would go to Oahu a lot. And then we kind of started going to Maui a lot more. Our old church has a location in Maui. So we did spend a lot of time there.
Nice.
And then my in-laws went to Kauai last year and really loved it. So they wanted to go back this year.
Nice. And the kids are going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have 3 kids. Youngest is 11. Then I have a 13-year-old and my son is about to turn 15 in a little over a month and a half.
Yeah. Really similar ages to mine.
Yeah.
It's funny. So freshman, 7th grade and 5th grade?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as mine.
Yeah. So we did a year at Nampa Christian and that was really great. But that second year they were signed up to go and some other families from church had talked to us quite a bit about homeschooling. And so we made the leap that second year into doing homeschooling. And, my wife has been doing that so well. I mean, she's super plugged in. They have their groups that they go to for extracurricular things. Yeah. And actually my middle daughter, Eliza, she just started volleyball at Star Middle.
Okay.
She has her first game tonight. That's pretty cool. I mean, I think homeschooling is so different now than it was, 30 years ago. There's just so many resources available, great programs, and they're loving it.
Yeah. Homeschooling. I mean, it's funny. I think we've had Renee, when he was sitting here, we talked about homeschooling, I think on his episode, but I always applaud the families that are willing to do it. My wife and I have said every single year that, hey, we want to take each year 1 year at a time when it comes to school. And if you look at our track record, it doesn't really vary too much, right? I mean, our kids have generally been in the same schools since we moved here. We pivoted one time and did charter. But I like to think that if it was necessary for us to homeschool, that we would. But neither of us feel called or invited to do that or convicted to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I always want to applaud and cheer on the families that they do feel like, hey, this is what God wants them to do. And that's awesome because that's a huge undertaking. My wife, I'll speak for her. She's like, I don't think I would be the best at being a teacher.
Yeah.
We have a hard enough time getting our kids to listen to us and be obedient anyway, let alone trying to mix in school. But for the moms that feel called to that and can do it, it's amazing.
Yeah. I don't think I could do it, but luckily my wife is awesome and she takes on that responsibility. And the kids are actually in a hybrid program. So yeah, for the most part, they do 2 days at home, 2 days in school. So it's been awesome program. We're really glad we dove into that, and it's been good for them.
Cool, very good. Well, you guys have an awesome family, and I don't say that lightly. You guys are great people, and we're glad to be in community with you guys, and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better. I know our daughters are friends, which is cool, and our sons are friends as well, and then our younger two are. One's a boy, one's a girl. So who knows, right?
It's tough.
Yeah. But it's fun to be in the same friend group with you guys. So that's awesome. All right. So let's maybe backtrack a little bit. So you guys did a short-term rental, and I love that the property management company was like, well, they need their credit to stay good. So they're probably a pretty safe bet to pay the rent. That's good. I love that. I'm going to use that going forward for all my property management friends. Like, hey, maybe think about the fact if they are in the process of buying a home, that they're going to probably do their best to maintain their credit. That's good. Okay. So fast forward to your house gets completed. And when is that?
That was, I would say, March of 21. So it was pretty quick.
Not quite a year.
Yeah. Everything went super fast. Started building, I want to say in August or September when we moved out, and was done pretty quick.
Yeah, that is quick. The cool thing is, if around here in this climate, right, if they can get concrete in the ground before it gets frozen, then they can generally build year round. The weather's pretty mild here, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It was a really great winter. It was mild. It was nice. We got eased into the cold. So I never liked the cold. And that was, well, I think our biggest fear was being able to find a good church and community we could get plugged into. But that might've been my number two, is just, trying to get used to cold weather and driving in snow and that kind of thing. You don't really get that in Southern California.
No, you don't. Not at all. The funny thing is weather's a massive thing for a lot of us, right? We look at the weather report and it sometimes has an impact on our mood, like a sunny day or a cloudy day or whatever that looks like. So certainly for somebody coming from Southern California, where the weather is 70s and 80s year round, and obviously hotter, it can be hotter in the summertime. But yeah, this is a bit of a scary move for some people to move to a 4-season climate.
Yeah.
But I would say you look the part, and I think you've acclimated well. Would you agree? Yeah,
I think one thing I learned is you have to buy the right clothes. So you got to be prepared for the day. You could have all 4 seasons in one day, but if you have the right clothes, we had to sell our old jackets that were more for fashion and buy actual insulated jackets here locally,
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as you're prepared, you've got your, the right clothes and shoes and a jacket in the back of your truck, you're good to go.
It's awesome. All right. So we've hit the family, we've hit the relocation. Do you miss the weather of Southern California at all?
I don't miss anything about Southern California.
Miss nothing.
No.
How about anything in the whole state? Do you miss anything at all?
Family, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hard. Family, friends. We still do a lot with our old church. We go back a couple times a year and, try to serve when we can. So that's good. But we're Idaho people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have any of your family followed you guys up here?
They did. Yeah. So that kind of touches on the transition for my business. So originally I had talked to our company and said, hey, I want to go remote. I want to leave my business in California. I'm going to live in Idaho. I think my in-laws lasted maybe 3 months with us being gone.
This is your wife's parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't last very long with us gone. They're, pretty close to the kids. And so my father-in-law was working with me at the time, and employees were allowed to be remote. Owners could be remote, but employees couldn't.
Okay.
So as soon as he decided to move here, I had to move my business from California to Idaho. And so the original idea was maybe, fly back and forth every month, things like that. But when he, told us that they were thinking about moving here, I actually reached out to our corporate office and said, hey, have you guys ever thought about expanding to Idaho? And they were all about it. So they pretty much said that they had been looking for the right first person in Idaho. So they had never expanded to Idaho, and they didn't want the first, it's a franchise, so they didn't want the first location here to fail or flounder. They wanted it to be a big success, so they had kind of waited to hire someone. And so, they had a good opportunity to have an established agency move to the state, makes their numbers look really good, and they knew that we would be successful. And so we moved the agency here and launched the first Idaho location would have been, I believe, around January of 21.
Okay.
And started hiring staff and just building the office out. And it's funny, but several other agents followed. So I'm not sure the total number, but we probably have 5 agents that are from California that just moved their agencies out here since then.
And we're talking about In-N-Out Burger here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Goosehead Insurance franchise.
Shame on me for not getting into your business a little bit earlier. I think we
All
left
good.
people like, what business is he talking about?
Yeah. So I actually was one of the first locations in California we launched in January of 2015.
Okay.
So I think there's only one agent that's been open in California for longer than me. And then, 21, we moved to Idaho and launched that for the company, and we're here to stay.
So you just had your 10-year anniversary with Goosehead,
Yeah.
right? As an insurance agency. And I don't know necessarily how this works, but you bought in and opened a franchise for Goosehead, correct? Mm-hmm. And you said that you were one of the first in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're the first in Idaho.
Yeah.
You're just a bunch of firsts. That's pretty cool. So don't go moving on us to any other states that don't have Goosehead.
No, I'm good. I'm good here.
That's cool. How'd you get into insurance?
So,
I mean, we could talk about how old you are and rewind 10 years and say, okay, you probably were pretty young when you did this. But I got to believe that you weren't a high school kid saying, I want to open an insurance agency.
Yeah.
Unless you were.
No, that was not the case. So I think my entire life, I wanted to be a firefighter. Okay. So one of my, role models growing up was my uncle. And, I noticed at a young age a few things about him. He loved the Lord, he loved his wife, and he loved helping people. And he was a firefighter for LA City Fire. And I was convinced that that's what I was going to be growing up. So I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I would buy and sell things. I would flip things. And so that was always in the back end. My mom owned a bounce house and party rental company when I was a kid. So she was one of the first people to have that in Southern California in the late 80s. She brought those to Southern California and would rent them out. And so I was always working as a kid, earning a little bit of money, helping my mom.
Family business a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I liked doing that, but I still had this drive to do more. I wanted to help people. And so firefighting looked like that avenue for me. I did fire explorers in high school. After high school, during college, I did fire technology program at a junior college. I did the fire academy. I did my EMT. I worked as an EMT for Care Ambulance in California, and I was testing to become a firefighter. But when I got engaged, I think that my relationship with my father-in-law changed quite a bit. And he realized things were, serious. And that at that time, that would have been, I think, probably early 2000s, like getting into the fire department was tough. I mean, there was, especially when the economy tanked, they weren't hiring, they weren't opening up new fire stations. And so he, I think, kind of tricked me. He's like, hey, why don't you get your insurance license? He had a really successul insurance
like
agency.
A Laban and
he's like, just get your insurance license. You love selling things. You're great at talking to people. And, it'll be a good backup plan for you. You can always do it on the side. And then I took the class and the test, passed it first try. And I mean, we might've been on the same phone call where I'm telling him my past. And he's like, I have a friend who needs some help at their agency. They just lost a bunch of staff, and could you fill in there? And at the time I was working as an EMT, and we would do 24-hour shifts. Yeah. So I did have a lot of time off, and I was like, yeah, I'll fill in, whatever. Maybe he'll teach me insurance. And so I started working for one of his friends who was another big mentor of mine, and I really liked it. I mean, I kind of look at it as we're helping people before and after the catastrophe, as what a firefighter would have been during.
That's true.
And so I really liked it. I was like, man, I can make a difference. I can help people. I can, make sure they have the right coverage so they don't have these, crazy situations after a catastrophe. And pretty quickly after working there, I started to want to open my own agency. And that's when the, entrepreneurial spirit really kicked in. And so I went to my boss at the time and I said, hey, if I worked for you for a couple years, would you help me open my own agency? And he was super open with that. He's like, yeah, why don't you work for me for a year and a half, 2 years, and then I'll help you launch your own agency. And I went back to the ambulance company and said, hey, I'd like to go part-time. Maybe I could work 24 hours on Saturday. And they said, we'll let you go part-time, but we want you to work 2 10-hour shifts on Saturday and Sunday. So essentially I would work
the weekend,
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and then Saturday and Sunday. And I just knew that wasn't going to work. So I put in my 2 weeks, and I did 2 weeks of, 2 full-time jobs, and I just stuck with insurance after that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you first got into insurance, it does feel like your father-in-law kind of had this planned out for you, which is in some ways good. I mean, you obviously like your father-in-law at this point, and probably at that point as well, right?
Yeah, he's great.
I really like my father-in-law too. It's kind of funny. I think sometimes we end up marrying gals whose dads are a little bit like us, or girls will marry a guy who's kind of like their dad a little bit.
Yeah.
But your father-in-law was obviously looking out for you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, and kind of helped pave a way for you to utilize those entrepreneurial gifts that you mentioned.
And I think when we did get married, I started to, because I did test for a little while after that when I was in insurance. Before I opened my own agency, I would still test for different departments. But when we got married, and then when we started talking about having kids, I did like being home at night, and I kind of lost that desire just because of the schedule. I like being home. I like, I feel like I can be there for my family if something happens. And insurance kind of took over, and that went to the wayside.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we fall into things that we didn't really necessarily intend to, but there's a noble side behind it, right? It's like, yeah, you're selling insurance, but you'd mentioned it's a way to help people before and after a disaster. Hopefully not after, right? I mean, is the goal, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's such as life.
It's good to have the right insurance, but you never want to have to use it. I mean, we get that from clients all the time that they say, I've been paying for this for 10 years and I've never used it. I'm like, trust me.
Can I get a withdrawal?
You do not want to use your insurance. I mean, it's there if you have to, but it sucks. I mean, getting in a car crash sucks. Getting your car stolen sucks. Your house burning down sucks. Someone breaking in, all of those things, you don't want to do it. I mean, we can replace belongings, but just injuries and pain and suffering, those kind of things, you don't want to go through that.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that transition so you were working as an EMT for an ambulance company, and that was your full-time job at the time.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And then you went and worked, was it part-time-ish for this agency?
It was full-time.
Full-time, right away, full-time?
I don't remember the first couple weeks what that looked like, but I think it was full-time. I mean, I think it was supposed to be a temporary thing. I'd just fill in, they'd hire some people behind me. I didn't know what I was doing. I took the test, but I didn't know how to sell insurance. I needed a lot of work. So maybe I was there just to answer the phone and collect payments. I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it was full-time.
Okay. And there wasn't much overlap with the EMT position and you going full-time with this insurance company. A couple weeks.
Yeah.
You said. Weeks. Okay, cool. So was your income pretty steady when you jumped into insurance as in this first couple of years?
I didn't have any bills. I was young.
Yeah. But married at the time, right?
No, it was before we got married. Okay. It was when we got engaged. So
I think that's important. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was before we got married. So I mean, I had very little bills. I owned my car, and I was living cool.
So you were in a little bit of a unique position to be able to jump into this line of work, is kind of what I was getting at. And I wasn't sure if that was the case, but it evidently was, right? Not married yet, no kids, no debt, which is cool. Because if you're jumping into a new line of work that is generally entrepreneurial or is sales, right, commission based, then it's easier to do that when you don't have a wife and kids and a mortgage and all those things.
Yeah. My wife and I, when we got married, I still worked at that same insurance agency. And so, we got an apartment and started to, kind of build our life. And then we had an opportunity to open our own agency. Yeah. And we dove in. I mean, she quit her job and worked with me. And we launched that business, and it grew really well. It's been a huge blessing.
That's awesome. Were you very well read at that stage of your life when it comes to like launching a business, or were you into business books, or what was your inspiration there, or who gave you the sound wisdom or the advice or the insights on how to do that?
So I think I'm not a numbers person. I just always thought that I wanted to work hard and do right by the customer. You know, I wanted to just outwork the next guy. You know, I wasn't the most skilled at anything, but I knew that I could work harder than anyone else out there. And so I think the combination of those two things really helped me be successful in business. I mean, I did have a lot of great people around me that mentored me, and I was able to, you know, get advice from, but a lot of it we just figured out on our own. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes and just made sure that we were always working hard, and we tried to keep our bills low and built the business up.
Was the owner of the previous company that agreed to kind of help you or release you to do this, was he influential, and was he helping you at this point, or did he just kind of wave you goodbye and say, best of luck?
So there was no financial help at all, but it was like, I mean, just to be there for me and help me crunch numbers. I mean, he is a numbers guy, you know, he is, I mean, just an awesome business person, has built up several different businesses, and, you know, he's a lot older than me, but kind of came in as just a mentor and was able to help me with some decisions that we made, and was always willing to give me time. And so, and I kind of have a passion for that now too, is I like helping other agents, whether that's people that work for me or outside of it. I've mentored a few people to open their own insurance agencies. And so I just think it was a passion of his, and it's kind of a passion of mine, and it's worked out.
That's awesome. So you kind of get to pay it forward, maybe, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's cool. Heard a couple things I want to key in on just a little bit. So your wife was an employee of this company as well, or you guys were both just co-owners of it? Were you the first two?
Yeah. So she was the boss.
Okay.
She was kind of like
there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah, she was kind of the oil. She kept everything running. So I don't have the best memory. And we had tinted windows in the front of our office, so people couldn't really see in. So as a client was walking towards our door, she would fill me in on who they were and what was going on in their life. You know, I take really good notes in our computer system, so I could look things up and, you know, I can remember things that way, but her memory is insane.
Is it still?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She's still sharp.
Yeah. So she would say, oh, this is Mr. Smith, and here's what's going on, and you need to do this. And she would give me a quick 30-second, probably 15-second download of who this person was and what was going on. And that helped me a ton. And we did that. She worked in the office for a couple years, and then we started having kids, and she was able to be a stay-at-home mom after that. So that was nice. We had some employees, at the time, I think we had 1 or 2 employees, and that first agency that we had, we built it up to probably 7 or 8, full-time people at all times.
And this is when it started in 15.
Yeah. So I was originally, So we got married in 2007. Yeah. 2008, we launched a captive insurance agency. So we only had one product to offer everyone. And then we sold that business. Is
that like a Farmers or a State Farm then?
It was an Allstate. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we sold that in late 2014 and went and bought a Goosehead franchise in early 2015.
And Goosehead didn't exist in California at that time?
No.
How was Allstate dealing with, because you probably couldn't bring your customers with you?
No, a lot of insurance agents do that. They, leave and then they'll try to roll their book over.
Yeah.
But I didn't want anything to do with that. I just wanted a fresh start, and it's a totally different business model. And so I wanted to start scratch and have the right type of relationships with my client and build the right type of book of business. And so we sold the business, and I held a note. So I needed the buyer to be successful. They
were paying you.
Yeah, we had a good relationship where we talked about things. I had a friend's mom show up at my office one day and was like, I'm switching to you. And I don't even know how she knew where our new office was, but I called the other agent. I said, look, this is what happened. This person just showed up at my door. I wasn't trying to steal them. Yeah. And I just paid her back for that client. Said, I'll give you the money back for that client because this happened. And
right. Because actually she transferred from the business that you sold.
Yeah.
And again, you were very interested in that business being successful because they were paying you. That's right.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. And it was just the right thing to do. I wasn't trying to poach clients. And I mean, your grandma is going to come over.
Of course.
A lot of agents will call down a phone list and say, hey, here's our new location, come get new insurance. And that doesn't sit well with me.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
It must have worked.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. So Goosehead opens in 2015. You guys build it up to a fairly or very successful franchise, right? It's the first in California. How many employees did you guys have when you decided that it was time to relocate to Idaho?
I had one.
Just one?
Yeah, that was my father-in-law.
Oh, so your father-in-law worked for you?
Yeah. So my dad actually works in the agency too. So, I have my own clients and book of business, and my dad does too.
Yeah.
And so we were just kind of doing it on our own, just selling insurance. And then I don't remember what year, but there was a time when we needed someone in the office that could speak Spanish.
Okay.
And my father-in-law was retired, and he's kind of getting bored of it. And so he decided to come on and start working with us and helping with all the Spanish speaking clients. And so when we moved here to Idaho, he was my only employee.
Was he in insurance before?
Yeah.
Okay. So
So he was an Allstate
pushing
agency.
you into an industry that he was never in.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. He had an Allstate agency too for a long time,
Okay.
and had just been retired, and then decided to start working with us. And that was my only one.
Nice. Okay. So heart change, life change, all the things. God puts it on your heart to come to Idaho. And then you have to work with Goosehead, of course, to get them to approve this, because it was a franchise situation. And when you open a franchise, you have to coach me on this. They agree to let you do that in a certain location, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you would have not asked permission, you probably would have been in breach of that agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that I could work remote, and I had told him that
because you could
to
keep
Idaho.
your agency open in Southern California.
Yeah. I didn't have to be physically living in that state as long as I had an employee that was. So essentially my father-in-law would have been that agency principal.
Yeah.
And then I could work remote, commute, that kind of thing. But once he decided to move to Idaho, we had to kind of shift gears and figure out what we were going to do about that. And it was great because we're able to move him here. And some things shifted with the market where I realized pretty quick I needed a lot more staff. We have a really big book of business. We probably have somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 agents at Goosehead. And I think there's only one agent at our company that has more policies in force than me. So I have a lot of clients. And so I needed staff to help take care of referrals that were coming in, or clients that maybe had terminated their policies, because I was really focused on bringing in new clients. Yeah. And so I was able to build out a team that can, help just take care of the day-to-day stuff that's coming in from, we call them cross sales, but someone buys a toy or things like that, or needs other lines of insurance shopped out, that kind of thing.
So the business exploded, you would say, when you got here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you've built out a team of, where are you guys at this point? Like how many employees?
So we've added 5 new employees. So there's 8 of us now. And I just hired another person last week.
That's awesome.
So he's working on his license and gonna start training soon.
That's crazy. So it starts with just you and your wife, and then your father-in-law comes on. You guys move the business to Idaho, and now you have 8 employees.
Yeah.
Dang. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that?
When I came to Goosehead, I kind of thought I would be a one-man show. I liked selling insurance. I liked helping people. And I guess I just didn't think it would, not that I didn't want to blow up, but it just wasn't really on my radar. I just thought I'm going to work hard and take care of the clients and we'll do well. And now it's just exploded and it's fun. I like having guys in the office with me that I can talk to, we can joke around with. We do a lot of fun activities. So I have a really good team. They're fun to be around.
That's awesome, man. So many business owners would look at your story and be like, whoa, he went from a one-man show, moves his business to a different state, brings father-in-law with him. And now he's, one, if not the largest, you're one of the top producing Goosehead agents, and you've got 8 employees. And insider tip, you told me this already, and you guys just moved your office as well.
Yeah.
So
we
moving and
outgrew it.
shaking. Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking at time here, we could go for forever and ever. Would love to understand a little bit more about how you did that, right? I think so many, if we ever have listeners on this, right? So the whole point of this podcast, like I've said before, is we really want to highlight your story for your audience and a little bit for my audience as well. But occasionally we have folks sit in this seat that can teach somebody something, right? So it'd be really cool to maybe hear a little bit more of how did you do that? Because that doesn't just happen accidentally, right? I don't know that we've got necessarily time to dig into that, but I'm curious to learn about that. So maybe we schedule that for episode 2 or something in the future, or maybe we just grab lunch. But that's a story that's most likely worth sharing. And I think a lot of people would be like, whoa, he went from where he was to where he is. And yeah, how does that work? So darn it that we didn't get there earlier today, but that's okay. There's a little bit more to you as well, right? So you've mentioned the Lord, you've mentioned your faith a ton. Does your business have any element of that in it? And that's maybe not the best question. I didn't say that the right way, but what am I trying to say? Tell me a little bit about why your faith's important to you, and does that relate to your business?
Yeah, I touched on that before. I always want to do the right thing for the client. And so I think that the way we treat our clients is kind of like a friend or a family member. We don't want to take advantage of them. We want to be able to sit next to them for a holiday meal. And so we've always just made sure that we're doing what's right for them. We're setting up the policy properly. We're asking the right questions, and we're providing them with a good product at a good price. Yeah. And so I think that Goosehead has allowed us to really do that. I mean, we have access to over 60 different insurance carriers. So we're able to shop someone's insurance. The company that's best for you may not be the company that's best for me.
Right.
And so when you're a captive agent, you only have one product, and you're kind of trying to stick a round peg in a square hole. It doesn't always work.
Yep.
Where we're able to go out and kind of customize a policy specifically for that family and make sure that they're properly protected, or at least they have the option to do that. I mean, some people don't take your advice.
Can lead a horse to water. Right?
Yeah. But I think that just, us working hard, but taking care of people has allowed us to be really successful. And I think clients really see that, and we try to be genuine with that. And so I think that, a lot of our business does come from the home buying and financing transactions. So we work mostly with loan officers and realtors to help their clients, and we help those partners close transactions smoother.
Yep.
And so I think us just getting, in front of those referral partners and kind of building rapport with them, showing them what we have to offer has helped us to get a lot more referrals. We work exclusively off referrals. So when I was a captive agent, we did a lot of marketing. We bought leads, we would do print mail and all, email blasts and all that. And now we do absolutely zero marketing. Everything is 100% referral based. And so that's a lot easier to work with someone when they have that warm interaction. That trust is already there. And so I've really enjoyed my time at Goosehead. I mean, we mentioned I just hit the 10-year mark. I renewed my franchise with them. So the initial contract was for 10 years. And we decided to stay on and keep growing this thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably wrap this up a little bit. So my hope is that somebody that's listening to this is like, wow, I really am impressed by Nick's story, or I really like Nick, right? And so the whole point of this is we want to introduce you to people because they may know, like, or trust you. And we know that that's the reason somebody would do business with somebody. I also love the fact that you're 100% referral based. That's dialed. Those warm introductions are the best way to go. So let's say somebody is interested in getting to meet you, or is interested in potentially working with you. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Probably through email.
Okay.
You can email me at nick.c@goosehead.com.
Perfect.
That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, but you can always
Great. We'll throw that on the screen so people can see that. Cool. That's awesome. Or they can call the office as well. Cool. Well, really, really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us. And was there anything that was burning for you ahead of time that maybe we didn't get to that you want to kind of leave us with?
No, I think we touched on it. Yeah, some great questions and got me gabbing. I really enjoyed being here and appreciate you having me.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, have an awesome afternoon. We'll go from there.